My name is Ashley, and I, for my persuasion speech, chose to speak about how and why social media has a negative influence on teenagers and just students in general. I chose this topic for a couple reasons. I first of all feel like it's relevant to everybody because we all have a cell phone, we all have social media, we all are downloading these apps that are taking way too much time away from our lives. We all know how this feels, how this goes. And our generation is a generation that has seen the entire rise of technology, and I just personally think that technology is becoming too big of a piece of students' lives, and it is wasting away their day-to-day lives, and I just want to share more about that today. So basically, I feel like social media is negatively affecting students because, as I mentioned, it's taking away way too much of their daily lives. It's just negatively impacting the way that they see themselves, and I mean, you only post the good on social media, so people are looking at others' Instagram profiles or even TikTok pages, just looking at other people's pages on social media, thinking they have such a good life and they are so pretty and they're so skinny and they're so happy, and look at them working out, eating healthy, all this stuff. You just start to play the comparison game with yourself and them, really. And I know this from personal experience, but we need to just keep in mind that people only post the good on social media. You're not gonna post the bad on social media. You're not gonna post pictures where you're feeling insecure and self-conscious and where you had a bad day, or you didn't make it to the gym that day, or you only ate fast food that day. You're only posting the good on social media, and because of this, you're allowing others to play the comparison game, thinking that you have such a good, happy, positive life while they have such a negative life and they have so much that they need to work on and fix. And it's also just misconstruing their minds into thinking that life should look one way when it actually doesn't look that way for anybody at all. Like I said, you're only posting the good on social media, and so one person could be looking at another person thinking that they have this perfect, happy life and no bad days and no hard times. But really, like I said, we're not going to post about the bad, we're not going to post about the negative, and it's just leaving room for comparison. And I also just think that social media is negatively affecting this generation because these brains are still developing, these brains are still learning, and it's not good to spend that much time on social media. For many reasons, it is not good to be staring at a screen all day long, your whole life. We really need to limit screen time, and students are wasting away their lives behind screens. And I just think that there is room for a lack of motivation. Instead of pushing yourself to be motivated, you are just pushing yourself to be on social media and spend time, like I said, behind the screens. We look at a time before social media in our parents' generations, in millennials' generation, and you would not have screens, you would not have social media, you would not have electronics. Your way of fun was going outside and spending time with people that lived close to you, or students and friends from school, and they were truly a go outside generation, and always wanting to learn new things, always wanting to try new things, always wanting to make up new things. And with social media being there, I mean, why would you go outside and play when you can just waste 4 hours away scrolling on social media? I think that so many students nowadays just kind of feel like that's weird to want to go outside and play. I truly think that when I was growing up, I was the very last go outside generation because, like I said, we have grown up on the rise of technology. So when we were younger, you still would go outside. I mean, my childhood memories come from playing with all the kids on my street and making up new games and inviting them to our pool, and my childhood memories are just all about being outside and being with the people that I lived on the same street as. And now I feel like for a current 7th or 8th grader, they're like, that is so weird. Like, you guys wanted to go outside and you guys wanted to go play outside, and I just kind of feel like there's a huge lack of motivation because of technology and social media. And like I said, why would you go create a new game out in the backyard when you can just download an app and find a new game on your screen? It's so, if technology is so hands-on, and like they have made it so easy for it to be with us 24/7. I mean, who doesn't have a phone nowadays? And you take your phone everywhere with you. And I mean, even me in a day-to-day life, pull it out, have a question, I Google it, I go to Safari, and it's just crazy to think of a time where this wasn't an option. And my parents say all the time, like, oh, when I was a child and like I was wondering something that you could just pull your phone out and Google, I would have to walk to the library to Google it. I would have to find a book about it at the library. Like, they did not have screens at their hands at every opportunity possible. And I think that it really shows in this younger generation that that is an opportunity and an option. And I just think that something needs to be done here and something needs to change, because screens are very negatively impacting the lives of students. The excessive use of social media can also lead to addiction. Like, you can physically get addicted to social media and to your phone. Students are always wanting to use social media to keep themselves up to date in the virtual world instead of studying or learning new things. So again, like I said, why would you go outside and learn a new thing when you can just look it up and learn a new thing, or download an app and learn a new thing? I mean, they have made phones where you can do anything and everything on your phone right within your hand at any time that you want. So why would you do anything else? And I think that because of this, there is room for students to get distracted from their goals and lose motivation for something in their life, something that they want, something that means a lot to them, and even their passions. Like I said, especially if you are getting addicted to social media, I think that it can also cause a loss of creativity in students, because again, instead of wanting to learn new things, they're wanting to spend time on the phones. And I mean, there's such a disconnect in this world now. Like, people's idea of fun, like this next generation's idea of fun, is hanging out and all sitting around on your phones and just wasting away time on your phones. And this was a way of life for me in high school. I always would just kind of look around and observe and notice all my friends just wanted to get together to sit in the same room and all just be on our phones. And I was like, this is not my idea of fun. This is not my idea of hanging out. This is not my idea of getting to know you and just having a good time with each other. I also think that because of the social media use in students' lives and teenagers' lives, that it is concerning to think about them being adults and think about this generation growing up and becoming the next generation. Because if they're this addicted to social media as teenagers, who knows what their life is going to look like as adults. And like, school is by itself already enough responsibility, but to think about even more responsibility on top of school, like their work life and having a family and all of this stuff, and being that addicted to social media, I really just think that there needs to be a change in this and be a fix. And there needs to be a line drawn where there's a cutback in social media and it's not being used as often, it's not occurring as much. I think that social media can be a good thing if you know how to properly use it and you're not sitting there behind a screen forever. I think that there's no harm in it and there's no damage, but there gets to be a point where there's too much, and I think that this next generation is in that point of too much. I did some research on the average amount of time spent on a screen in teenagers these days, and it says that the average screen time spent on a phone a day is 7 hours and 22 minutes, which is so crazy to think about, but if you look at it, there is 24 hours in a day. Obviously, you're supposed to be sleeping on average 8 of those hours, and so then right there's only 16 hours left in the day. And if you're spending 7 to 8 of them at school and then 7 of them on social media, like, there is your entire day. You are spending your day at school and then spending your day on social media and then spending your day sleeping. I do not think that teenagers are getting 8 hours of sleep a night, though. I feel like because of social media, they stay up way too late on social media and just on their phones, on all of these toxic apps that take way too much time out of your day-to-day life. And I think that there is definitely like visible impacts of this, and like it's very obvious what that amount of screen time is causing in these students' lives. And the average amount of screen time spent on a phone a day for ages 8 to 12-year-olds is at 4 hours and 44 minutes, which is also insane to think about, because to think about 8 to 12-year-olds on phones 4 hours a day is just crazy, because like, you shouldn't even be having a phone at 8. You shouldn't even know what social media is at 8. You shouldn't even know any of that stuff at 8. You should just be enjoying your life as a child and spending it outdoors, spending it outside. I think that that is absolutely insane that there are 8 to 12-year-olds spending 4 hours a day on electronics. And like I said, just to think about if this is happening now, like, this is concerning to think about what's going to happen when they're older, because it's only going to become worse. The addiction's only going to become stronger. I just think that there's a lot of room for error here, and like a lot needs to be fixed and be changed. And I think that it's very possible, but this generation has to want it, and I don't necessarily see a want in this generation. I think that social media sounds and looks fun to students, but it's ultimately just a way to waste away all of your free time. I think we need to teach this next generation how to put the phone down and spend some quality time with the people they love before they lose them. This amount of time on social media and on the phone can really ruin your relationship with your family. I just think that quality time is a necessity in life, and it's not being met right now for these students who are spending all of this time on their phones. I think that the generations are just getting more and more and more attached to the screens, and it needs to stop before it gets even worse, because I already think that we're at the point where it's too bad. So I think that social media is very negatively impacting and affecting these students' lives, and needs to change. Something needs to be done, and this needs to come to an end finally.